All right, so today we are moving on in chapter 4. Okay, learning goals, we're going to be specifically looking at explain the differing views the colonists and English had on the citizens' roles in government. Second, understand the major themes that are laid out in the Declaration of Independence. And finally, identify problems colonists faced as they set up their new government. So today, we're going to specifically be looking at this first bullet point, okay, explaining the different views the colonists and English had on the citizens' role in government. So moving forward, let's get started. So first, we're going to take a look at the English view, okay? The Parliament represented all English citizens, okay? And this included the colonists. So in England, right, Parliament, their government, okay, represented all English citizens, but this also extended to the colonists, okay? Even though they aren't directly in England, right, they're still under that control of Parliament, okay? So the colonists had a different view, okay? No colonists served in Parliament, nor could colonists vote for Parliament, okay? So they really had no input in Parliament at all, okay? So if you have no input, you can't serve in Parliament and you can't vote for anyone who is going to be in Parliament. Do you feel represented? Do you feel that's fair? No, right? So this is how they were feeling, right? They were upset, okay, that they couldn't serve, they couldn't vote, okay, and they felt the English government did not attend to their specific needs. Okay, their needs weren't being represented within Parliament, obviously, because they couldn't vote or they couldn't be in Parliament. Okay. In addition, okay, there was also trade conflict. So Parliament only allowed the colonists to trade with England. Okay, that's the only country they could trade with. Okay. Do you think that is most lucrative for the colonists? To be able to trade with only England? No, right? They aren't allowed to expand out. Okay, to find different trading partners, right? Expand their trade, expand their production, because they're only allowed to trade with England. Okay, so that's another source of tension, source of conflict, right? That the colonists are feeling towards England. Okay. So continuing on. No taxation without representation. Okay. So when Parliament decided to raise money to pay its debts, they decided to tax the colonies. Okay. So England wanted to pay off its debts. Okay, how do you raise money? How does the government raise money? Taxes. Who are they going to tax? Yeah, specifically here, the colonists. Right? So Parliament decides to tax the colonies. Okay, that's what they decide. They're going to raise money to get out of debt. This enrages the colonists. Okay, they are not only being represented within Parliament. Okay, remember, they can't vote people in, they can't hold office. Okay, and then adding on the fact they can only trade with England. Okay, this taxation further enrages them. Okay, and that's where we get this slogan, no taxation without representation. Representation meaning what? Yeah, right, they want to be represented within Parliament. Okay, so if they aren't allowed to participate in Parliament, they shouldn't be taxed. Okay, that's what they're saying here. No taxation without representation. Okay, then we move forward. Okay, we have a few steps toward this need, this want for independence. Okay, so in 1774, we have the first Continental Congress. Okay, reps from 12 of the colonies came together, right, in hopes that they could voice their concerns to England. Do you think progress was made? Do you think England listened to them? No. All right. So in 1775, the Second Continental Congress, that meeting takes place. By this point, tensions are even higher. Okay, we're now having fights between colonists and English soldiers, right? Tensions are still rising, so nothing has gotten better by the time the Second Continental Congress meets. Okay. Continuing on, like I just said, fighting breaks out. Okay, and all this is just escalating tensions between the colonists and England. Okay, so again, this is a look at the first few steps toward independence, looking at that rise in tensions, okay, and what will ultimately result in independence and the Declaration of Independence.